should, for some reason, that something catastrophic happens and all of the Rockies go down in a plane crash and die, then I guess I'll have to wear women's lingerie. Other than that, be prepared for Mikey Franks to wear Speedos at the end of the year because his inner Homer came out of him. Now, look, last night, he's like, oh, the Giants got Austin Jackson. This is going to help out my bet. He thinks Austin Jackson's going to help out his bet. Can Austin Jackson pitch out of the bullpen? I don't think so. Good luck with that, Mikey. I'll see you at the end of the year when you're wearing Speedos. And look, I'm going to pick out a really nice, attractive pair for you. And I want you to wear a pair of Chuck Taylors, black, with no socks. And I want you to do like a little funny dance. I want you to dance for me, monkey. You're listening to the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network. It's Jake the Snake on the Jake Robinson Sports Experience, and the experience rolls on. Now, look, I told you, you can get a hold of me at iHeart, the radio app. You can find me on iTunes. You can find me on Google Play. Jake the Snake is accessible, baby. Come and get it. Who wants it? Get some. I'm also on Twitter, guys, so if you want to check me out on Twitter, I'm at JRobbie1. That's JROBBIE1. And the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network, we have a Twitter page. You can always go there. It's at LTBaseballPodC1. And, of course, my email is always open to all my friends. That's diamondsnakejake@gmail.com. So, many various ways to find me. If you're not part of the Facebook fan page of the Let's Talk, it's called Let's Talk Baseball, you need to get there now. Because I've never been surrounded by more stinking geniuses on the planet. And let me tell you something, I've said this before, and I'm going on record now. Would I love to have 1 million viewers? You bet your sweet ass I would, baby. But as long as I got my core, my base, and the Let's Talk Baseball room, I'm fine with that. Because you guys make all this happen. And I am very grateful every day that I come on here and I get to talk baseball to you. Not really much to talk about this week. There was a trade between the Cardinals and the Blue Jays. I'm going to talk a little bit of Red Sox, some Mariners, and I'm going to open the mailbag. We haven't opened the mailbag in a couple weeks, and I was deluged with messages. So I'm going to get down in the dirty. We're going to get down in the mix, and we're going to get this show underway. It's the Jake Robinson Sports Experience, live on the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network, coming out of Pawleys Island, South Carolina. That's right, new digs, new studio, new tech, and you're going to have to bear with me. I haven't even put a song list in yet, so some of these songs may be a little cheesy. You know Jake likes to keep it up-tempo. He likes to keep it loose, a little bit of hip-hop, a little bit of metal, something to get the bones going, you know? So, like I said, bear with me. I got some new tech that I'm trying out. Now, I did tell you there was a trade between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Toronto Blue Jays, and I guess we'll start off the show there. It involved basically Randall Grichuk went to the Toronto Blue Jays for right-handed pitcher Dominic Leone and right-handed pitcher Connor Green. So we're going to dig into that a little bit. Now, let's talk about how the Cards got here in the first place. In 1998, the St. Louis Cardinals signed Kent Bottenfield as a free agent. And I liked Bottenfield. He was kind of a chubby guy. Kind of like your classic softball-looking pitcher. I mean, I like that dude. He was solid. So the Cardinals signed him in 1998 as a free agent. Well, in 2000, the Cardinals traded Adam Kennedy and Kenton Bottenfield for Jim Edmonds. And that brought Jim Edmonds over to the St. Louis Cardinals, and I think we can all agree that that was a that was an equitable relationship. I mean, good happened all around in that deal. And, wow, that was 2000. I mean, that's how long ago Jim Edmonds was playing for the Angels. It's just like, it seems like it's a whole nother era to me. And really, it is. So in 2000, they acquired Jim Edmonds for Adam Kennedy and Bonfield. Now, 2007, the Cardinals traded Edmonds for third baseman David Freese. Again, another move that worked for the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, David Freese was the Game 6 hero in that World Series against the Texas Rangers. Came up, hit the double over Nelson Cruz, who was out in right field doing the cha-cha. I mean, he looked clueless on that play. That was awful. Times they gave up with that double. And then, I believe, 2 innings later, 10th inning, game-winning walk-off home run, Game 6. St. Louis Cardinals get the momentum back, and they take it home and win the World Championship and send the Texas Rangers home to feel shame. So in 2007, the Cards traded Edmonds for David Freese. When that, like I said, that worked out pretty good for the Cardinals and for David Freese. David Freese has pretty much kept the job because of that, and he's really, he's almost become a stiff. In 2013, the St. Louis Cardinals traded David Freese, Fernando Salas for Grichuk, Peter Bourgeois. So, we go from Kent Bottenfield to Jim Edmonds to David Freese to Grichuk and Bourgeois. Fast forward to last week, Cards trade Grichuk to the Jays for Green and Leone. In his 4 seasons as a Cardinal, he had a .249 batting average, 66 home runs, 182 RBIs, and just a little bit over 400 games. Now, look, when I look at this deal, it feels a need for both of these teams. The Blue Jays needed a right fielder. Now that Joey Bats is, on the market, and, I don't know. He's one of 130 players that are still out there on the market, 21 days away from fucking training camp, but, people are going to tell me there's no collusion. I don't know. All I know is the Orioles have 2 starting pitchers in a goddamn rotation, okay? So, look, I'm telling you, I'm not going to get on this collusion thing. But I think you guys know pretty much where I stand on it. It's horseshit. It's the Jake Robinson Sports Experience live on the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network and live out of Pawleys Island, South Carolina. Now, look, like I said, this trade, it fills out needs for both of these teams. The Jays needed a right fielder after Joey Betts entered the free agent market, and it clearly looks like he's not coming back. And I told you, the Cardinals, they need bullpen help. They need pitching help, but bullpen in particular. And I wouldn't be surprised if, they get into some kind of serious discussion over Greg Holland to close games. And, I'm sure we'll touch that down the road. But, I'm looking at the Cardinals, and they definitely have a need for pitching. Now, Grichuk, he had an up-and-down kind of career with Cardinals. Last season, he had 22 home runs in 122 games. But, he went back and forth between AAA and the Big Show.
Super Bowl-sized ad for your Super Bowl party. Complete with unexpected tackling, screaming guides for ladies, talking animals, talking babies, talking robots, product...
And so, Grichuk...
Dancing mascots and huge explosions.
Like I said, bear with me. I'm messing with brand new equipment here, and it's not quite working with me at this moment, but okay. Now, Grichuk, like I said, he's been up and down as a Cardinal. Last year he had 22 home runs. He had 22 home runs, 122 games. He had a slash line of 238, 285, and 473. But I'm looking at the Cardinals. Like I said, they're going to need help in that bullpen. They tried to go with Sang-Won Oh last year in that closer role, and that was disastrous. Trevor Rosenthal is recovering from Tommy John surgery. He's not coming back. He's a free agent. So it kind of works for them in picking up Dominic Leone. Now, Leone, and 65 appearances out of the Jays pen last year. I mean, he had a breakout season in 2017. Ended up the season with a 2.56 ERA. He amassed 81 strikeouts in about 70 and a third innings. And look, in my mind, he should probably slot in very favorably in front of Luke Gregerson, who is now the closer, who, right now as we sit, if the season were to start today, Gregerson would be the closer. Now, I don't know how I feel about that during the regular season. Like I said, I do think the Cardinals should go after Greg Holland. But if the season were to start today, Luke Gregerson would be your closer. And I'm assuming that this Dominic Leone would be the setup guy. Looks like he's got a good power arm, and he's going to miss a few bats. Now, if you can get Holland and make those two guys your bridge to getting to Holland, I think the Cardinals' bullpen is starting to round into effect. The other person in the trade, Connor Green. He was the 11th ranked prospect. Spent the year in AA New Hampshire last year. But his stock has plummeted in the last year and a half. He's 22 years old, and he has the ability to hit triple digits on the jugs gun. He's frequently hitting that over the past couple of years, but his AA stats from last year were awful. They were heinous. I mean, 26 games, 25 of them were starts. He had a 5-10 record with a 5.29 ERA, 92 strikeouts, and a 132 2/3 innings. So Connor Green looks like he's a project. He's probably a couple steps away, and I don't know. I assume he's going to project somewhere in that bullpen. I don't know. He's kind of a crapshoot to me. The real pieces in this are Dominic Leone and Randall Grichuk. Now, Grichuk, 26-year-old, as far as I can tell, he's got poor plate discipline. His walk-to-strikeout ratio is an astounding 110-22 last year. I mean, dude, take a few pitches. Stop swinging at every freaking pitch, man. 110 strikeouts, 22 walks. That is just ridiculous. That's totally unacceptable. He's got a 287 on-base percentage. I mean, you have a worse on-base percentage than Billy Hamilton, baby. You got to get that up. You got to fix that. You got to have more discipline. What does he give the Jays? Well, he gives the Jays, like I said, an outfield solution to losing Joey Bats, and he also gives them a contract that's very team-friendly. It's a 3-year controllable contract. And now you're putting Kevin Pillar, Steve Pearce, Ezekiel Carrera, Curtis Granderson, and Grichuk in a outfield platoon situation. So, if anything, it gives Toronto deep depth in the outfield. And I guess they figure we've lost Encarnacion, we've lost Joey Bats, we've lost the meat and potatoes of our power. So now we're just going to try to dazzle you with a couple interchangeable bodies out here. And look, I think the Jays are kind of onto something because, well, I told you a couple weeks ago they got Yannervis Solarte, and Yannervis Solarte can pretty much play any infield position. So they have a little bit of flexibility off the bench. They have a little flexibility in the outfield and in the infield. And I think it's a good trade for the Jays, quite honestly. And I feel like it's pretty much a good trade for both of these teams when I look at it. Now, Leone, I told you, Grichuk, he's got 3 years of control. Well,